Columbus Circle standoff ends with alleged hoax bomb thrower removed on stretcher. Queens man told cops, "I want to die." Police took a psycho into custody on Thursday morning following an hours-long standoff that began when he threw a fake bomb into an NYPD van, cops said. Cab driver Hector Menezes, 52, who at one point in the standoff said he had a bomb strapped to his chest and wanted to die, was taken out on a stretcher after he barricaded himself in a gray 2008 Chrysler Aspen SUV, with New York plates, on W. 57th Street near 8th Avenue. He was wearing a red helmet and what appeared to be a body armor-like vest. At about 1 a.m., roughly 90 minutes after the fake bomb was thrown into the police van, the SUV was spotted by two detectives doing a video canvass, police officials said. Cops surrounded the vehicle during the standoff and attempted to speak with an uncooperative Menezes, who lives in Elmhurst, Queens, sources said. Police spotted what could have been an explosive device on a seat in the vehicle. He rolled up his window and put his hand toward the glove compartment. He was also suspiciously keeping one hand hidden, police officials said. "I want to die and I have a bomb strapped to my chest," Menezes told cops, according to police officials. The suspect donned helmet or hard hat and shifted back and forth between the driver and passenger seats, but then refused to respond to negotiation efforts. "You are completely surrounded," an NYPD officer said on a loudspeaker. Cops sent in an emergency services robot to obtain a better view of the SUV, as police unsuccessfully tried to reach his mother and his wife, sources said. Just before 8 a.m., cops used pepper spray and pulled him out of the vehicle, police and sources said. The NYPD's bomb squad then immediately began searching it for any hint of explosives, sources said. At Menezes' home in Elmhurst, bomb squad and emergency services officers in tactical gear prepared to enter and search for weapons and explosives. Passers-by were stunned at the turn of events in one of the most heavily trafficked areas of the city, frequented by massive throngs of tourists and commuters. "We heard a cop saying, 'Come out with your hands up.' Next thing I know, the cop tells us to leave," witness Jennifer Constanza, 28, told the Daily News. "They told us a suicide bomber was nearby." Sources said the Colombian-born Menezes has no prior psychiatric history and no arrest record. He did have a number of traffic violations. Menezes applied for a license to drive a yellow cab in April, police said. Police officials said neighbors described him as a quiet man who often buttonholed people about issues in the neighborhood. They described him as being nosy and when confronted, he becomes irate, a police official told reporters. Trains bypassed the Columbus Circle station and civilians were cleared from the area, as officers with guns drawn swarmed the scene. An armored vehicle and other cop cars surrounded the area. The NYPD tweeted just before 7 a.m. "Please avoid the area of Columbus Circle until further notice." Carpenter Domingo Estrella, 25, of East New York was heading to work near Columbus Circle when he was prevented from getting to his job site by the unfolding trauma. "They're not letting us work," he said. You never expect it to be where you work. It's scary. Musician Nancy Jo Godel, 23, of Astoria was on her way to Central Park. "I just wanted to sit in the park this morning and I see this," she said. "Thank God they caught him in the car. We've gotten numb to this type of stuff." It could have been another tragedy. Late Wednesday, Menezes pulled up to the NYPD van and threw into it and fled, police said. SGD Aimed Armani and Officer Peter Cybulski were parked by Duffy Square in Times Square when the object was tossed from the gray SUV and came hurtling in through the passenger window and landing on a rear seat. Instead of throwing the device out onto a crowded street, the brave officers headed for a safer spot. The sergeant immediately drove the van approximately 1 block in order to leave the proximity of Times Square, which you all know is very crowded, O'Neill said. Then they finally pulled over on W46th Street just past 6th Avenue. The cops put the object on the ground and took cover. After shutting down several blocks of Midtown, police checked the device and found it was a fake made of a red candle and two LED-style garden lights, wrapped in tinfoil and a piece of white clothing. O'Neill described it as an apparent hoax device. "Both the sergeant and officer acted heroically during this event," said SGD Brendan Ryan. Initially, police took another man into custody after pulling over a vehicle on 57th Street and Madison Avenue, but the man was later cleared and released.